And you thought I wouldn't make it back to LA in time for the show. I am here straight from Lambeau. We got to talk Zappy, we got to talk Brady, and I have a perfect guest to do so after this. Gotta talk Sunday Night Football. Matt Cassel to do that with us momentarily. I was at Lambeau, so we'll talk a little Packers here. But we got to get to this Ravens bad decision down the stretch. Welcome to Up and Adams. Big show. It results in another blown late game loss. This is the second time this year. This Ravens squad that I think should contend, that I think might take it away from my Bengals, they've blown a 17-point second-half lead twice. In the Dolphins game, it happened as well. Listen, the secondary was rough. In the second half, they had a hard time stopping Josh Allen when he took off with the ball, and the Ravens offense had some issues as well, of course. But the late game decision is bonkers. It kept me up all night. Fourth and goal from the 3. It's a tie game. Harbaugh kicked the field goal. And I understand there's metrics. And I understand you have some sort of like TI-89 calculator that spits out all this stuff. But your offense was a mess in the second half. It's wet, sloppy conditions. I don't know how you account for that on your algorithm thing or your analytics. And you're up against a really good defense. And it's not just a vacuum of analytics. The defense you're playing matters. Your offense was not rolling. Take the points. Take the lead. And then even after that, they stand up Josh Allen at the 1-yard line with 1 minute and 40 seconds left instead of letting them score, allowing the Bills to let the clock run down to zeros as they kick the game-winning chip shot field goal. I don't know why you don't let them score at that point, and then you give Lamar, like 1 minute 40 to answer, instead of taking the 99.9% chance of you losing by stopping Allen there. It is there's also more issues, by the way, than decision-making, for sure. And I think for Ravens fans, I see you, I love you, thank you for watching, send me your tweets. And it's got to be a tough one knowing that you have now blown 2 17-point leads, and you're that away from being 4-0 and owning the AFC had those things not happened. That was crazy. Packers game experience was incredible, always. Beautiful day. Pro tip is to go early October to Lambeau. It's perfect. And I was on a date, and this man who I was with, my man, we were there watching the Packers, who he grew up knowing and loving, and we sat on the visitor side, and I thought that was very weird, and I saw the tickets. I was like, that's really strange. This is the only thing that was available. It's because, Brian, the sun... How considerate is that? I'm always freezing. The sun goes, stays up, even for late afternoon games. I was in the beautiful Lambeau, Wisconsin, Midwestern sun the entire game until late into the fourth quarter. And it went into overtime, and I would not have stayed had I had been on the home side. So pro tip to all you men taking dates or wanting to keep your families warm over at Lambeau, visiting bench behind it is the place to sit. Okay, so the crowd was a little quiet, very weird. Very weird to have LaFleur have to keep raising his hands to get people up on defense and quiet during... I was like, well, is this not Lambeau Field? Is this not the most storied franchise in all of NFL history? But it was very Lambeau. It was very, very sweet to be on the sideline, and all the coaches come see their beautiful families, and it was relatively calm. So, yeah, my whole take here was what I'm saying is run the ball. I'm calling the fact that we should just run the ball with Aaron Jones, and we didn't nearly enough. And I was kind of crabby during the game, and then, of course, Aaron Rodgers wasn't great the whole first half. And then I realized as I was on my trip home, they are finding a way. And it wasn't pretty, and I'll ask Cassel about this in a minute. And it really hasn't been very pretty all season long, but they are 3-1. Rodgers said after the game, take a listen to this. Do we have a sound? I hope so. That winning this way is not sustainable.
The way of winning, I don't think is sustainable because it's just pushed too much pressure on our defense. And obviously I got to play better and will play better.
I can do an hour on his hair. I could do an actual hour on this man's haircut. But here's what I think. Do you want to know what I think is unsustainable, Aaron Rodgers? Depending on you to throw 40 touchdowns and 4 interceptions and being brilliant and mistake-free every single game. They've put everything on him year in, year out, and it has not resulted in any rings. That's, in fact, unsustainable. The last ring they got was 2010. What did they have then? A top 5 defense, by the way. Exactly what they have now, and a dependable run game. So the passing game does have things they need to figure out. We saw some of those flashes. Those young weapons are exciting. They'll grow. They'll get more comfortable. You got Dobbs. You got Watson. Watson, by the way, huge. was not ready for his size when I was out there on the field yesterday. But, 44 yards in the first half. He came back. He put up an impressive 200-plus, 2 touchdowns in the second half. And this is against Bill Belichick's defense. They've got a great pass rush. Wise and them are second quarterbacks left and right and applying pressure. So I think it's a great thing, and I think it is sustainable that the Packers are finding other ways to win. Maybe they could have used this type of energy in the snow in Lambeau last year against the Niners. Just saying. All right, last one for me. The Eagles are the best team in the NFC, and credit to them for digging themselves out of this 14-zip hole against a really talented Jags team that sort of fell apart. They dominated the game. It's not easy to do that. It's adversity. They were unfazed after having a disastrous start. So you pay attention. They keep showing you. Lane Johnson came on our show after a win. Believe them with what they're showing you. The way that they're built, that's the takeaway. It's going to be so tough. They're such a tough out once the weather becomes more of a factor. Think January. Think December. This is what I was thinking yesterday in the downpour, the slop in Philly. Even with the defense knowing that it's coming, there's nothing worse, right? The defense knows what you're going to do, and the Eagles ran it down your throat 50 times, 210 yards, and 4 touchdowns. That's because, of course, because of Jalen and how he can run. And I'm looking at these highlights. He's so versatile. They've got so much depth in the backfield. The dominance of the O-line. This team was built to win games down the stretch in the playoffs and to keep teams out of the playoffs and to ruin their plans. So NFC, I'm telling you, listen, pay attention, and believe them. And don't let them get the 1 seed. Do not. Bucks, Rams, you do not want those guys in Philly. You do not want to play their brand of football. All right, we got to get to Sunday night action. So that's where we bring in our guest, who we know and love, of course. Sunday night action, who better to break it down than a former Pro Bowler, Chiefs quarterback, former teammate of Tom Brady, of course, in New England, and the co-host of The Breakdown, a podcast on the KC Sports Network, 14-year NFL veteran Matt Cassel. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's great to see you this Monday morning.
You're always in such a good mood. You're the perfect guest. I couldn't wait to get back and talk to you because let's just break down the Sunday night action. What a game. Finally, high scoring, exciting. The defense and the low scoring stuff has been cute to start the season, but I needed that last night. And last week it was panic mode for this Colts team. We missed TyreekHill.com, all of that. Last night happens. It's 3 passing touchdowns. They almost ran for 200 yards. I know you broke down all of the tape from that Colts loss. What's the biggest difference you saw last night against this Bucs number 1 D?
Well, I think really it started with the offensive line. And I know Andy Reid challenged these guys early this week. When you hear the comments coming out of that building, they had to rise to the challenge. And they knew, I think that there's a lot of bulletin board, a lot of people sitting around that locker room saying, look, we the last time we played this team, we got blown out, right? And so it's time for us to have a statement game. And when you look at the Indianapolis Colts game last week, the offensive line didn't play very well. They had a lot of self-inflicted wounds. They weren't good on third down. They turned over the ball. All these different elements that played a key in really losing that game. So they turned it around this week. You look at them in the first half, they're 8 for 9 on third down. Patrick Mahomes, I mean, is there anybody better in the league at improvising? You can't. I mean, you just can't even make this stuff up. Even if you're playing a video game, you can't probably do half these moves, jump up, throw it over. I mean, he's just toying with the defense, and it's incredible to watch just on a consistent basis because every time you turn on the film, there's a potential for a big play. And
but is
it's
Matt,
just unbelievable.
Matt,
yes.
Is it consistent? First of all, your thoughts on that play, if we can play it again. But how does that happen against Indy if he can do this against the Bucs defense? That's where I can't make sense of that.
Right. I can't make sense of it either. You think that they're going to go out and blow out Indy the way that they just did the Bucs, who's, only given up 14 points a game all season. They gave up 28 points total in the entire year. They scored 28 points in the first half. So, yes, there is some ups and downs right now, and I think they're figuring out. But when you can balance the run game, get the passing game going, let Mahomes eat and Kelsey and all those guys, and the way that they formation stuff, I thought it was a brilliant game plan, and everything was kind of going their way too, right? With the 2 turnovers in the first half by the Bucs, one inside the 5-yard line to start the game. You had the strip sack by Brady. So there's a lot of different aspects of this game that played in the hands of the Kansas City Chiefs.
We're 4 weeks in now. The debate rages on. Will this offense miss Tyreek Hill? Will they not miss Tyreek Hill? Or dare I say, will they eventually be better without him? Where do you stand?
You know what? You always miss a guy like Tyreek Hill. You can't say that an electrifying player like Tyreek Hill, the explosiveness that he has, the nature in which you get him the ball on a bubble screen and he can go 70 at any point. You see it in Miami as well. Look, you're going to miss him, but the way in which this offense is constructed, it all runs through Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes makes everybody better. They game plan it well, and the plays outside the pocket, nobody else can do in the league. He's a generational talent. So really it starts with Mahomes, and these other guys are getting caught up to speed, but you still have the elements there to have a successful offense. It might not be as explosive all the time, but Patrick Mahomes is the one that definitely steers this ship.
And on the other side, Tom Brady, good friend of yours, of course. He's now 2-2. He threw a whopping 52 times. The Bucs ran only 6 rushing plays for a total of 3 yards. I'm not sure that I've ever seen a game. I really don't think I've ever seen a game where it's been that unbalanced. That's insane. And it couldn't have been the plan going in, right? So he looked better. He had his guys back. Do you think they abandoned their plan too early? And what did you make of that weird approach?
Well, I think they get down 21-3 and they said, we're going to throw it to get back in the game. And they're going to put the game on Brady's shoulders. They had their weapons back. So obviously there was a lot more production in the pass game. Mike Evans stepped up, had over 100 yards receiving. Chris Godwin got in the mix finally. But again, I think it more was just dictated by the course of the game and saying, look, we got to throw to get back in this game. Otherwise, we're going to get our doors blown off. We couldn't stop them on defense. The defense just could not stop the Kansas City Chiefs. They didn't punt until the fourth quarter. So I think that was more of it. But at some point, you still want some balance. You don't want your 45-year-old quarterback dropping back 52 times and have to throw the ball every single time. But that's what they decided to do.
Do you think are they going to be okay? Do you have faith in the Bucs?
I do have faith in the Bucs. I think this is a talented football team. And look, they haven't had all their weapons collectively together on the field at one time until really last night. They've had issues that they've had to navigate with the offensive line and playing with their second string center, their second string offensive line. I mean, left tackle, who's a really important position. So there's a lot of moving parts here early on the season. But I think this defense, even though they played the way that they did, I think that's an outlier. And they'll play more consistent down the stretch. And now that Brady has his weapons back, they really do have to get the run game going and create balance in this offense, but they'll definitely be more productive moving forward.
You can't have him throwing 50 times a game, so obviously it wasn't the plan going in there. You can't do that, but then Patrick Mahomes is another animal. Okay, so it's at Lambeau, as you just heard yesterday. The Patriots, they go in with Hoyer, the destroyer, and then the injury happens, the blue tent, the whole thing, and then it's Zappe hour. Bailey Zappe gets in there. Nobody in the stands knew. Everyone, who's this kid? What's going? Nobody knew what was going on, and then it goes to overtime. So I'm like, he's out of Western Kentucky. He played like I was just trying to tell people what's going on. That was me.
Straight off the bus from Western Kentucky.
Yeah. What stood out to you? Because we might be seeing more of him.
Right. You might be seeing more of them, and it's a tough situation to come in really you start the situation as a third string quarterback. Then all of a sudden Mac gets hurt. You're the second string guy, probably not anticipating playing, but he went out there and handled the conditions really well. It's a hostile environment for a young kid to come in. I thought Matt Patricia did a really good job with how he called the game. They didn't put too much on his plate, didn't ask him to do too much. They simplified the game plan, but because they were able to control the line of scrimmage with that big offensive line, run the ball with Damian Harris, Ramondre Stevenson, they set up some easy play action. Some guys got behind the defense on the second level. He delivered the baby, which is what you want to see. And again, I mean, what an exciting moment for him. I mean, in Lambeau,
inside his own 5, unbelievable.
Inside his own 5. I mean, I can already get my mouth's getting dry just thinking about it, trying to call the play and all that stuff. I just remember those moments there. But it was an incredible opportunity for him, and I thought he managed the game really well. Like I said, I think going into this week, it'll be interesting. Will Brian Hoyer in the concussion protocol, when will he actually pass concussion protocol, or will he pass concussion protocol? Bailey Zappe, you want to get as many reps as you possibly can get this week. Or is Mac Jones is there a potential for that high ankle sprain? I highly doubt it. So we might be seeing more of Bailey Zappe.
So this is my question, because you're the perfect person to, I'm sitting there and I'm watching this happen, and he did a great job, and Patricia did a nice job too of adjusting. But I'm looking at him, I'm like, how much of Bill Belichick's attention did you actually get this week? Do you know what I'm saying? Because I'm watching it, like, what was this week like for Zappe? Do you know what I'm saying? Because you have Hoyer, he steps up, he's starting, so you almost have to overdo it with Hoyer. You're trying to get your backup ready. He's not ready to start. And then you have Zappe, this third string rookie. Like, what do you even do with this? So how did they get him ready from third string to backup, and how much attention do you think Bill gave him?
Well, I think the benefit right now is that it's still early in the season. So he's fresh off a preseason where he played a lot of snaps in preseason, and he played really well. So that gives you a comfort level as a backup quarterback, even a third string guy that, look, I know how to run this offense. I got a lot of reps in preseason. So we're not too far removed from that. Whereas you get down into week 7, 8, and you haven't seen a rep and you're running practice squad, then you're still trying to get caught up to speed. However, when you're balancing that, like you said, the lion's share is going to go to Brian Hoyer because you got to get him ready to play. You want him to see the defenses, get prepared for third down. But Zappe might get a play here or there. But ultimately, it's just him being ready mentally and then also having a plan for if he's got to go in the game. And I thought that's what I was impressed about is I think that they did have a plan. God forbid Brian Hoyer was to get hurt, and he did. I thought that they simplified the game plan, stuck to the run game, and just tried to get through that game and make him as comfortable as possible.
I think they need to just stick with Zappe this week. I really do. I want to see.
Are you ready for some more Zappe?
I do. I'm ready for, don't worry, be Zappe. There's so many puns for me to play with, which is why I want it. But just a spark, right? Just give me some sort of spark. And if he gets more attention from Patricia and Bill Belichick and has a week, I'd like to see what he looks like. I really do. I'm very interested in that. I want to ask you about Kenny Pickett. Last time I talked to you, you and I were on Good Morning Football. You did some breakdown on Pickett, and you were wearing his gloves. You're a big fan of him, I know. And it's complicated now with what happened yesterday because he was out there. Tomlin very non-committal with what's going forward. He threw those 3 interceptions. Looked good at times, but this is a team that is not about everyone wants to make it about the quarterback. We got a running back issue, we got an O-line issue, we got a big defense issue on this squad. If you're Mike Tomlin, what do you do going forward?
I think you're going to have to finally turn to Kenny Pickett at some point. This team's struggling, and some of it's to Mitch Trubisky, some of it's not. It's not all to blame. The defense hasn't been the same without T.J. Watt. They've been giving up a lot more points. And then, it's at some point you got to see if this can turn the tide, add a spark. And I know he was thrust in the game in the second half out of desperation, said, hey, let's go out here and just see what the young kid can do. But he got his first snaps here. And then next week, I think if they stick with him, they give him all the reps. You let him get ready and you let him see the defense. He got a little bit of touch here. But at the end of the day, I think he's ultra talented. He just needs more experience with this team. And one of those picks is a Hail Mary at the end of the game that you're just trying to throw up and hope for the best. So I don't put that on him.
I think, do they have the Bills this week? Yeah, they got the Bills this week.
Maybe you leave Mitch Trubisky in there for one more week. Then.
I was going to say,
let him get started a little bit.
That's what I think, too. Really quick for you, just because, you have this beautiful season and then in New England and you're famous for it, and it's this 11-5 tattoo that you wear around. And Cooper Rush has a
right on my lower back.
Yeah, that's a little tramp stamp above a butterfly. Yeah, I get it. Matt, then you went to KC and you got the gig, right? You got a starting gig because of your success on the season and how well you played. Right. And I'm looking at Cooper Rush, and I'm thinking, that could be him. Can Cooper Rush be the next Matt Cassel, the guy who has teams wanting him to be their starter? Does he have that in him, in your eyes?
I mean, he's made play after play. I mean, you even look at the Giants game, and he goes down the 2-minute drill and goes and wins the game for him. He's taking care of the football. He's operating within the offense. You saw the throw last week yesterday, actually, to Michael Gallup in the back of the end zone where he gets flushed out, secondary off-rhythm play, hits him. He's been accurate, taking care of the football. He's got full command of the offense. It's been fun to see. And that's the fun part for me, is to watch guys like that get an opportunity to go out, prove themselves. And you're not just playing for the Dallas Cowboy and your longevity there, because Dak Prescott's going to come back at some point and take back over the offense, but you're playing for your longevity in the league, because there's 31 other teams watching going, look, this guy's got a great skill set. He's big, he's strong, he stands tall in the pocket, he delivers the ball, he takes care of it. Totally. He does all the things that you want him to do. And so there's going to be people out there that look at him and say, hey, he's a potential starter. And the way that he's handled this couldn't have been better for him, his career, and also the Dallas Cowboys. He's
easy to root for, and so are you, Cassel. You are doing a podcast with my literal favorite person in this business, Matt Hamilton.
He's the best.
Isn't he the best? I'm so glad. It's called The Breakdown. And you're going to have a lot of fun with the Wizard play and all of that with the Kansas City Chiefs. You can hear it on the KC Sports Network. Matt Cassel, thank you.
Thank you so much.
We'll talk to you soon. Maybe we'll get Hamilton on here with you at some point. That would be fun. We'll be back because we have Andrew Fillipponi to talk about how my bold prediction of Mitchell Trubisky starting every game might be in jeopardy. Maybe not, though. It's not over yet. We'll be back. We've got league reporters to hang out with. Of course, we'll start with the London game, a double doink that just reminds me of the Chicago double doink. So I wasn't a big fan of it. We'll be back. We've got best reporters. We've got stats to preview Monday night action. Do not miss it. Up and Adams. Go around the league, some takeaways from the games that were. I have to dig into all of them better tonight, of course, and throughout the day here. But from what I saw, we're not even going to go around the league. We're going to go around the globe to London, because in London, of course, in the early morning, this game I saw in its entirety. Vikings took care of business over the Saints. Close one, 28-25. I love this for the London crowd. I love the Ted Lasso. Congratulations to the NFL on the launch of their 5-game international NFL series. Loved it. It all came down to this, though, this 61-yard field goal attempt, a double doink, which we love. It was exciting, and it might have taken that double doink situation to seal the deal. This was such a big deal for the Vikings. That's my takeaway. Not just to move to 3-1 now, you're tied with the Packers, but you're exercising demons from last season, and that's important. New coach, new blood. I spoke a lot about this in the preseason leading up to this. But Kirk Cousins, a lot of numbers haunt him. Prime time, bright lights, all of that, but also one-possession games. Last year, he was 8-8 in all the losses. All the losses were by one score. So this is a team that could not seal the deal when it came down to it. Well, this London game, it marks not only back-to-back one-possession wins for Minnesota, but back-to-back fourth-quarter comebacks and game-winning drives for said Kirk Cousins, who did, in fact, hit the gritty in the tunnel. And I will not show you that because I love you and I want you to have a good day. Okay, let's move on to this game. The Seattle Seahawks, they got themselves a win. Let's talk about it over the Lions. Lions always going to fight tough, but here you have it. This is insane. 48-45 was the score. The improbable stretch Geno is on is the story as we take a look here at the numbers. He is in command out there. He's completing 77.3% of his passes. That is an NFL record through the first 4 weeks of the season. Huge credit to him and the Seahawks, 48 points in this win. So my takeaway is simply a question. Is it possible that this offense is better without Russell Wilson? Geno Smith has command, he gets the ball out on schedule. It is a sustainable offense. So there's that up against Russ's ability to create magic, to make magical plays when he needs to. It's working. It's working the way they have it now with Pete Carroll and Geno. And by the way, I told you last week about Rashad Penny in this one, so I hope you listened. Apparently, we're getting to the DK of it all and Poopgate later, but who knows? Let's go to Russell's new team, these Broncos, right? They fall short against the Raiders, 23-32. Here, this is an artistic rendering, apparently, of how Wilson's time as a Bronco is going. Do you get it? I don't get it. Explain it, Brian. Not well? That's not the horse you want to ride. It looks like a cute little pony. I don't mind that. I don't know. I thought from what I saw, the Broncos' passing game showed signs of life. Holding penalties, right, of the untimely variety. Critical mistakes ultimately is what doomed them in this one, in these big, meaningful spots, along with the fact that the defense struggled to get Vegas off the field because the time of possession was crazy. The Raiders controlled the ball for 75% of that fourth quarter, rushed for 210 yards, 144, and 2 touchdowns. By the way, hat tip to Josh Jacobs, and Devontae had 101 yards through the air. So enough about the Broncos. And why are we showing the Broncos stupid horse renderings? No, this was a Raiders team that deserves some love for a win. I am happy for you. This is the Raider squad I was expecting to see. And what a game, by the way, for Max Crosby, who I called out a couple of times on the show last week. He had some big moves out there, not just on the stat sheet, but he had some holding penalties that he drew. So very, very good stuff from the Raiders. And we see you, and congratulations on getting a win. What's next, Conrad? Calendar slide. Oh, this is back, right? This was big news last night on the old Twitter. This is Mike Tirico. Mike Tirico looks a little uncomfortable, like, when's he coming in? He looks over, gives him the side eye, as you can see. He's like, oh, and here he is. Now, so this happened last night. This is not the slidiest slide I've ever seen. We'll leave it there, but it's really about, why are you counting down to, are we going to break? I have no idea. Oh, Conrad's counting in my ear. All right, bye. A love fest in the rain. It's like The Notebook, only not. This is Kelsey, of course. Is Kelsey asking him for his jacket? That's Doug Peterson, of course. They won a Super Bowl together for the Eagles. I don't quite know what's going on here, but yeah, a jacket swap. Oh, that's what I want to see. A love fest. For more on the Eagles takedown of said Jags. Let's head out to Philly and welcome in former linebacker who for 9 years in the NFL spent time with the Eagles for 7 of them. He's the co-host of the John Marks and Ike Reese show on 94 WIP radio in Philly. Ike Reese, how are you?
I'm good, Kay. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm not as good as you. Living large there, undefeated, 4-0. Woo, for the first time. This is insane. In 18 years for the first time. So Eagles fans, of course, some of the most entertaining and passionate in all of sports. What are the calls into your show going to be like today?
I'm pretty sure everyone's excited, right? Those 18 years, I happened to be on that team that was 4-0 back in 2004 that went to the Super Bowl. And we're starting to have those types of conversations around here. You know, it's a little difficult not to get ahead of ourselves with excitement. We still know that there's a lot of football left to be played, but the team has been very exciting this year on both sides of the football, but led by Jalen Hurts and his development. It's good times here in Philadelphia. Let me just say it. It's good times here in Philadelphia right now.
Is it? We'll get to Jalen in a second. Is it kind of weird? Because that's even the smile. That's not what I'm used to. Philly fans like to complain. You're going to have people call in and say, I feel great. Ike, how are you? It's insane.
Yeah, I got to tell you, we do thrive a little more when there's some sort of adversity there. We seem to feel more at home as a fan base when we almost have to overcome something. We're not used to leading from ahead, and so we have to almost temper our excitement.
Yeah.
Because believe me, as Philadelphia fans, we're always waiting for something bad to happen. Believe me, it's like in the back of our minds, we know sometimes things can't be as good as they appear. But I'm cautioning everyone. Enjoy it while we can.
They look great. They look great on both sides of the ball. Chef's kisses everywhere, and they're doing it in dirty weather. And if anybody, listen, I was saying on the show to open it, I said, don't you let the Eagles get the 1 seed. Bucks, Rams. You don't want to play. You don't want to play in Philly. You don't want to do it. You mentioned Jalen Hurts and his growth and development. In your eyes, how has he grown? Has he developed into the passer that was this was one of the biggest storylines in the offseason. It was nauseating. What's Jalen Hurts going to look like? Will he develop? Has he?
Oh, he certainly has. And I think he's developed beyond some of our expectations, right? Jalen has always been a hard worker. Those are character traits, I think, that has made him the player that he is. But he went this offseason, and he's fine-tuned a lot of his mechanics. So he's throwing the football better. But here's the thing that I think is helping him out even more, is that he's in the same offense for the first time, I believe, since he was in high school. So he doesn't have to relearn an offense, terminology, all those things. And he looks more confident where he wants to go with the football and where it's supposed to go. So his decision-making in the pocket, he seemed much more poised and relaxed this year. And he allows things to happen as opposed to last year. As a young player, he still was trying to figure out how to play the game at this level, where you can see as this year, the game seems a lot more easier to him. It certainly helps that they've gone out and added A.J. Brown to the offense. But, and I also believe when you play complementary football like the Eagles are playing, meaning this is a pretty good defense as well. So Jalen doesn't have to feel like everything is on his shoulders.
Right.
It really is a complete football team.
What's the key to that defense? Because everyone was talking about Jalen. Everybody was talking about A.J. Brown coming to the team. I didn't hear many people boast about how good this defense is going to be. And here they were. Even just yesterday, they grabbed 5 turnovers. They are a dominant unit. And you were on some great defenses yourself with this team. What's the main key to this D?
I got to tell you, Kay, they obviously added more talent on that side of the ball this offseason. I think having a secondary as good as they have right now with 2 of the top corners in the league allows Jonathan Gannon, as a defensive coordinator, to give a variety of looks to every offense. And they've won on the defensive side of the ball playing, I think, 3 or 4 different styles of defense in these first 4 weeks. And they're getting after quarterbacks, whether it's with the pass rush up front or great coverage on the back end, as we saw when they played against Minnesota and they got Darius Slay going against Justin Jefferson and Terry McLaurin in back-to-back weeks. So I think Jonathan Gannon having the ability to switch up what he's doing on defense has really kept these quarterbacks off balance. They played 4 different styles of quarterbacks, and they made all 4 of them uncomfortable in what they like to do. You know, Trevor Lawrence hadn't looked this bad as he did yesterday all season long. And it was primarily because that defense was getting after him.
The NFL is just a better place when the Eagles are involved and dismantling teams and being dominant. And that's the kind of laugh I like to hear. Ike Reese, we appreciate you. 94 WIP Radio in Philadelphia. Enjoy this week. And we go from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh. Yes, the Kenny Pickett era began yesterday, not with a bang, but with a boo. The number 20 overall pick started the second half in place of Mitchell Trubisky, or Mitch Trubisky, whatever he likes being called now. And he did throw an interception on his first drive, 10 of 13. 3 interceptions, not very great. Fillipponi, who's joining us right now. Kenny Pickett's biggest hype guy. 93.7, the fan of Pittsburgh's, where you can hear Fillipponi. Am I going to look like an idiot?
Well, this is a new thing, Kay. Thank you for bringing me on as an expert here on a team. I'm excited about that. This is kind of cool, and I'm even going to ignore the everything's great in Philadelphia segue into this interview. You know what? I'm actually in a great mood today.
Okay.
Because I know they lost to the Jets, which is awful, and they blew a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter, which is even worse. But Kenny Pickett is playing now, and the box score says 3 interceptions. 2 of them went off the hands of receivers, and the last play was a Hail Mary. It did. If it hits you in the gloves with the glove technology now, Kay, the glove technology, it should stick right in there.
I'm Randy Moss if I'm out there. You're right.
Chase Claypool and Pat Freiermuth, no. I'm so excited that we're going to see the next great franchise quarterback in Pittsburgh, and that era started yesterday, albeit in a loss.
So you're saying if you're Tomlin, you're rolling Pickett out against the Bills next week? I am. And look, the Buffalo Bills offense, hard to keep up with. Probably the team to pick to win the Super Bowl. FanDuel thinks so. They're the favorites. But the defense is depleted. Okay. They've got injuries in the secondary. Yeah. Kenny Pickett lives for moments like this. I was so lucky, Kay. I got to do a radio show with him all last year. I know, it's awesome.
As he almost won the Heisman. And we developed a bond. And look, I have a bias for Kenny Pickett. I'm not going to lie about that. But I saw intangible traits in him that I thought were going to make him a great NFL quarterback. He showed some of them yesterday, and I think he loves the challenge of going to a place where he is a massive underdog and showing the world that he's ready to be an NFL quarterback.
What were these traits that you saw? Because you did do this radio show with him, which I think is very cool. It was when he was at the University of Pittsburgh. What is your biggest takeaway from Kenny Pickett's performance if the box score, 3 interceptions don't matter?
Just great confidence, swagger. It's not like a braggadocious thing where he's rubbing it in your face. He's not super cocky, but he goes in there and he expects to win. And Deontay Johnson, who the Steelers gave $36 million to this offseason, you know him, Kay. Mm-hmm. He's a PPR monster in fantasy because he's always getting the ball thrown to him. He said, hey, when he went in, motivation, morale, energy, swag, we got all that back. The crowd was loving it. He exudes confidence. He lets the guys know in the huddle that he's going to do everything he can. He's not going to be gun shy. He's not going to be timid. He's not going to be careful with the ball. Mitch Trubisky for 3.5 games looked like he was afraid to make a mistake. Mm-hmm. Like he was playing looking over his shoulder. You don't get that with Pickett. So he's mature. He's 24 years old, Kay, which is old for a rookie.
Yes.
I think he's up for it. They might not win right away, but I think in the long term, this is the right move for the Steelers.
We'll see. It's the Bills this week. You've got issue. Deontay Johnson gets caught calling this a rebuilding year. I've never heard that.
Oh my
out of
God,
Pittsburgh.
Tomlin's going to go nuts when he hears that, Kay.
And fans are. Yeah, fans are going to light up your phone lines on that because that's just not something that we're used to, or it's not something that we expect ever to be the situation there. And then you've got this defensive problem. Listen, when they had T.J. Watt, they were the 24th ranked defense last year. There are problems with this defense that have carried over. Now you don't have him. Maybe he comes back. It's not an ideal. Then you got Najee, all that. There's a lot of stuff going on there that I don't like for a young quarterback. You have faith in him. You know him better than I do. So I'll take your word for it that he might get the nod, though the news out there this morning, Tomlin is hesitant to name a starter for Week 5. Thank you so much, Andrew Fillipponi, 93.7, The Fan in Pittsburgh. Listen, listen, my bold prediction is Trubisky starting all year long, and you're saying there's a chance. All right, New York Giants, 3-1. They beat Chicago Bears, my hometown team, 20-12. That's what I get for sitting in Lambeau Field instead yesterday. For more reaction, let's bring in a true legend gracing us with his time, Bruce Beck, 26 years as lead sports anchor for NBC TV in New York. It is so good to see you.
Hi, Kay. How's everything?
Things are so great. Thank you for taking the time. Listen, things look pretty great for you there in your office in New York. Jets are 2-2. Giants 3-1. Just how we all predicted it, right?
Exactly. The two teams combined are 5-3. Last year they were 8-26. If you go back over the last 5 years, this is no joke. The Giants are 22-59. The Jets are 22-59. So we have something to at least think about. Usually the season is over by the beginning of October. There's actually some hope for both clubs.
And I love to see it. The Giants win was pretty insane, right? Daniel Jones, he injures his ankle. What's the latest there? Do we know anything?
We don't know who the quarterback will be. I think this kid Barkley could be the quarterback running the Wildcat.
Yeah.
He loved it. He goes, we were making plays in the dirt. We were trying to figure out what the heck to do. Davis Webb, remember, is on the practice squad. Here's a good nugget. Davis Webb is in his second tour of duty with the Giants on the practice squad. He was actually asked to be the quarterback's coach in Buffalo this year.
Okay.
And turned it down. Turned it down because he wanted one more shot to try to be the quarterback of the New York Giants. I think he'll be a great coach someday, but he could be the quarterback this week, or it could be Saquon, or somehow you could get Daniel Jones on the field with that tender ankle.
I mean, I would love to see that. That would be a dream come true. Comeback, that would ensure his comeback player of the year status for Saquon Barkley there. Of course, Tyrod Taylor suffered a concussion. He left that game. So Daniel Jones did well. Saquon Barkley, he had 146 yards rushing.
He's on fire.
Yeah, the passing game's a question for me, especially because you pay Kenny Golladay. What's going on there? It's one target again. It's 0 catches. He had some nice blocks out there, but I don't think Mara's writing him that check every week to do that.
The only thing that matters to Brian Daboll is that guys are on the football field. Can you get Kadarius Toney? Can you get Kenny Golladay on the field? If you're not on the field, he's not going to play you. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. It doesn't matter what your credentials are. It doesn't matter if your contract is $76 million.
Yeah.
So it's all about being available. If you're not available, you can't contribute. But the Giants are a team that under Brian Daboll is just figuring it out a little bit. They're having some fun. They're 3-1. They're not really a very good team if you look at the pure talent. I think they're ranked like 5th in the league. But the bottom line is they're playing and they have some energy. And there's coaching, there's leadership. Hey, that's a little bit fun in that regard.
Maybe Saquon was out there in Wildcat to, show off for teams that might want his services if they're just out there having fun this year. Maybe the Buffalo Bills are paying attention to Saquon Barkley quickly.
This is the best I've seen him in a long time.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe since his rookie season. He might be better. He's more explosive. He's going to the ball. He's going to the line. He's not hesitating.
We love it. Jets takeaway. Love to see it.
The Jets takeaway is, where are your receipts? I'm looking for my receipts here at the table. I think honestly that the Jets are a team that has some talent. It's just a matter of giving them some time. And Zach Wilson's only 23. The kid's only played 14 games. We have to see how he's going to do. He was 18 for 36 yesterday, a little rusty, but 2 big scoring drives late to engineer the second Jets amazing comeback for the ages against the Browns, and now another comeback. So they're 2-2.
That's exciting.
I can't believe what we're dealing with, but there's hope. There's at least interest. Maybe we'll get to November this year, and I think both football teams have a bit of a future, although the future is not now, in my opinion. Kate.
How are you balancing your time, Bruce? You're not used to this. You think that the Jets, the Giants, they're winning, and then you've got this Aaron Judge thing going on as well.
Aaron Judge, I am consumed with Aaron Judge. I've been at the stadium 8 times in the last 2 weeks. I've only seen 1 home run. That was number 60. We're still waiting for 62. He needs to go from Ruth to Maris to immortality. He's not there yet. But tonight, he goes to Texas for 4. Maybe he does it. He's stuck on 61 homers and 130 ribbies. What an amazing season.
And then, of course, there's the question. Yeah.
And he handles it with class. He really does.
He really does, and I'm just so excited. Bruce, you deserve it. All of these years recently, I lived there for over 10 years, and I never had hardly any excitement when it came to the NFL. Now you've got it all going on. And Bruce Beck, we really appreciate you. We know you're busy. NBC TV, a legend. I don't have to introduce you or say bye to you. You are famous and so well respected and well regarded, and I just appreciate the time.
Thanks so much, Kay. I'm going to take a nap and then get ready for the news this afternoon. But it's a joy to get up and talk with you.
You're the best, Bruce. Talk to you soon.
Good luck with everything.
Thank you. We'll be back after this. Aaron Donald and the Rob. I was in the background of this photo. I was also working out with them. Can you see me? Are they going to pan to me? Oh, no. Yeah, I was just getting my morning workout in with them. We've got to get ready. You ready for Monday Night Football? Did you know that everyday wins make your day so much better? They do. That's why FanDuel Casino has a new daily free game to play. Take a look at this. It's called Reward Machine. What a fun concept, a reward machine. It's a free game that gives players a chance to win up to $2,000 in casino bonus every day. All you gotta do is log in daily and spin for a free chance at some rewards. FanDuel wants you to win. Play Reward Machine for a free chance at Everyday Wins only on FanDuel Casino.
I'm gonna win, whatever it takes. All gas, never hitting the brakes. I'm gonna win, whatever it takes. You're gonna get used to my face. Get it.
Marissa McBride, that was an aggressive music video. Let's bring in the San Francisco Niners. We're gonna bring in stats, right? Because we got action tonight to wrap up week 4. Rams, we got Niners, we've got a huge split, of course. These coaches hate each other. You, my friend, Stats, are the host for SB Nation, Niners Nation. Mr. Guerrera, how are you?
I'm great, Kay. Thanks for having me.
Let me see this T-shirt you got on that I hear.
Got my Victory Monday shirt. Yeah. Trying to manifest it, bring it into reality here for the Niners.
Where's your head at, my friend, with one Jimmy G?
Look, he is what he is. He's going to give the other team chances to intercept the football. It just comes down to whether or not they catch it. If they can't run the ball and Jimmy has to throw it, the Niners are cooked.
Will Jimmy G and the Niners offense struggle in primetime, do you think? What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, Jimmy has not been good in primetime. He's 1-4 in his last 5 games in primetime, 7 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. They need to run the ball and they need to convert on third downs. They're converting just 35.7% of their third downs this year. That's 22nd in the league.
Okay, I'm looking at this. Obviously he's going up against Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, the Rams defense. That's tough. For the Rams, Stafford's thrown 5 interceptions this season. We're seeing, shades of Detroit Lions Stafford. What have you made of how he's played this season? He sort of wins the Super Bowl, and it goes under the radar that he's struggling a bit because they are winning.
Right. Well, he led the league in interceptions last year. He was tied with Trevor Lawrence. So the difference was he was throwing 40 touchdown passes. If he's not going to do that this year, and so far he hasn't, those interceptions become a lot more costly. The key for the Niners is going to be able to get pressure with their front 4. If they can get pressure without having to blitz, they can cause problems for Stafford.
What's the record for Shanahan? It's 7-4 including the playoffs, right?
He's 7-3 in the regular season against the Rams, and he did lose the playoff game, unfortunately, in the NFC Championship game. They've had success there, but they have to be able to run the ball, and they haven't been able to do it with Debo this year. His numbers look good. He had one 51-yard run against the Seahawks. If you take that away, Debo's averaging less than 4 yards per carry, so he is not the get-out-of-jail-free card that he has been for this offense.
Is Kittle back?
Well, he's playing.
Okay.
They don't target him enough, Kay. Kyle Shanahan has to realize that blocking is the second best thing that George Kittle does. If you make him a blocker, you're doing the defense a favor.
100%.
They need to stop and chuck him the football.
I bring up the record between the two because everybody likes to make a lot out of it, and you like to talk about Kyle Shanahan. So I thought you might take the bait on just who has the coaching advantage between the two of them, because it sounds like you're saying run the ball. That doesn't exactly sound very hard. If they do that, they win the game. Does Kyle have the advantage in this one?
Well, I mean, he has owned the Rams, but they do have that nice shiny Super Bowl ring to kind of throw back in the Niners' face. But let's be honest, San Francisco needs this. To drop to 1-3, that is trouble right now. They were able to get the season on track last year when they were 3-5 coming into that Rams game. Then they went 7-2 the rest of the way. So we've seen the 49ers kind of use this game to turn their season around. Hopefully they can do it again tonight. When
you look at teams, I'm looking, the Niners has got to prove something to me, because I'm looking at The Packers, I was there yesterday. It wasn't pretty, but they're winning ugly, which I actually like because I think not sustainable for Aaron Rodgers to have it all on his shoulders. I like that they're winning with defense and with their run game. I'm looking at those Eagles, and they're doing that in the slop. They're doing that in bad conditions. Like, I want to believe in one of these other teams to be able to contend and with those, I think those are kind of the top for me. So that's what I'm looking for in this game. One of them to stand up and prove themselves because for whatever reason, LA is completely falling off the radar for me.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like, they won the Super Bowl last year, but I feel like the Rams have to remind people that they did that. Like, they don't seem to be getting the same amount of respect. Look, the 49ers know their path to victory. They have to run the ball. They have to not turn it over. If they can do that, they're not going to lose because that defense is as good as any defense in the league. It just comes down to whether or not the offense doesn't screw it up.
Why are you making it sound so easy? It's clearly like you're like, just run the ball. Just make a defensive play. I would love, if I could have one wish, it would be for you to be coach for a day of the Niners and see how that goes. Because you give Kyle so much grief.
Well, he deserves it. Look, the problem with this team has been the offense this year. It's true. He's supposed to be an offensive guy. He punts on 4th down. He doesn't try to score before halftime too often. He's very conservative. The defense is doing their part. It's time for the offense to pick it up as well.
All right, Stats, we can follow you. Where can we follow your tweets for the game? Because that's always a treat for me.
You can follow me on all the social medias at Stats on Fire. I like to say I'm there for the arguments.
At Stats on Fire is there for the arguments. And Jimmy G and Kyle Shanahan end it all. We appreciate you. My friend Rob Stats Guerrera, follow his work over at SB Nation, but really just the best Twitter follow in the game. 49ers are going to wear their throwback jerseys on Monday Night Football. We've got more thoughts on Week 4 after this. What a week. The slide is back. You're welcome to the world. You know, if anybody have anything else needs to come back, the Macarena, maybe, I'll work on it for you. Look, the slide went away. I asked about it, and it's back. Oh, Patty Mahomes from LeBron James. What was that got him? Are those the black AF1s that Tomlin bought his team? Is that a joke from the Jets? The Jets social media, they had a Mean Girls gift that went over really well, and that's where bringing Conrad company.
It hits.
Conrad, what else has been going on the interwebs?
We have to talk about OBJ, right? OBJ tweeting about your guy Aaron Rodgers. Let's take it. Let's show him.
This is another thing I manifested. Here it is in the building. You see Aaron. AR is too fire. Honestly, bro, makes it look effortless. How many times, Conrad, have I said on this very set, that's where I want him to go?
A lot.
Go to Green Bay. Manifesting it. What else we got?
We need to see it. We have one more. Let's take DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf had one of the craziest, most bizarre plays.
Yeah.
Watching this live yesterday, I thought, oh my God, what happened to DK Metcalf? Turns out he just had to use the bathroom.
Yeah, he had to poop. I don't think it's fair to fans. If this is going to continue, this whole Lamar Jackson, they need a different kind of cart. They need a golf cart, maybe throw some poop emojis on it so that you know that that's what's happening, that's not a serious injury. Is that too much to ask?
No, it's not. We should just have that everywhere.
Number 2, not number 2, I'm saying peace.